stand for fantasy football franchise. Talking about that guy, Hoogie Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Oh, in this belief. Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always finding sleepers on the street, boy. F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
All right, welcome to another edition of the F3 Pod. My name's Joey. I'm Joey the Tooth IDP on Twitter. I'm here with Andrew.
What's up?
What's up, man? It's at DubsFans02. I'm not afraid to say it. As our normal host, Sean, at Lanny1925. He's MIA for the night. I'm not 100% sure what he's doing. I think it has to do with Thanksgiving Day travel. So
Turkey travel.
Probably just put himself into some sort of food coma.
It seems like a really slow way to get around. Like, I don't think that riding a turkey would be a fast way to get around. Like, do turkeys run fast?
No, and they fly like shit. Funny story, actually, before we even get started, I have to talk about this.
Yeah.
I was driving home from work one day, and I'm driving down this back road, and I'm looking ahead, and from the tops of the trees, this big bird jumps out, and it starts flying down, and it's struggling. It's flapping its wings, it's struggling, coming down, and it's getting lower and lower, and as I'm driving closer and closer, till I realize it's a turkey, and the freaking thing lands on the roof of my car and bounces off. So turkeys suck. Huh?
Did you take it home with you?
No, it didn't die. Literally, its claws hit the roof of my car. Like, he tried landing on it.
It didn't die from hitting your car, but it could have died from you killing it after to eat it.
Dude, I was in such awe. I was like, did that really just happen?
That's pretty wild. I don't think we have wild turkeys where I live.
Really?
I don't think so.
Oh, there's tons around here.
Oh, I've never seen one, and I do go into the wilderness, so I don't know.
You just have bears and moose.
We call them meese for plural.
Oh, okay. Well, tonight we're going to dig a little deep into what happened in Week 12. We're gonna start. We'll go position by position for you guys. We're gonna start with QBs this week. Let's start with Jameis Winston.
2020 club.
2020 club. He's gonna lead the league in touchdowns and interceptions this year. Possibly only the fourth QB to ever do that.
You think he's like? Is he gonna continue to? Is he really gonna lead the league? Like 20 doesn't seem like that many. Is it that bad of a year for quarterbacks?
What, for interceptions?
No, for touchdowns.
For touchdowns?
Like
really?
Like we're through 12. We're through 12 weeks. That's less than. I mean, he's probably played 11 games.
That's less than 2 a game.
Yeah, like it seems like I mean, if you look at the years where there's 50, that's 3 a game.
Right.
But that's not the norm. But you think there's usually guys in the mid to high 30s, aren't there?
Yeah, there's been a lot of bouncing around at quarterback this year, though. A lot of people not meeting expectations, guys getting injured. I mean, that might play some part of it, but I don't know. You're right. That does seem really low at week after week 12.
Actually, Russell and Lamar both have 24. So
all right, so he has the chance to
a shot. Yeah.
And he'll probably lead the league in interceptions
because he's got a substantial lead in that category.
But does he keep the job after this year? He's in the last year of his rookie deal. Do you think he's played well enough with what he has to garner a contract after this?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
And I really expected a bigger jump from him. The Bruce Arians effect, right?
Right.
And so I don't know if that's sort of an indictment on him as a quarterback. Like if you can't figure it out with Bruce as your coach, you're probably not going to figure it out. And so I guess you also kind of wonder about Bruce's future to a certain extent as well, right? Like I'm not saying they're going to cut him after 1 year, but do they still have confidence in him? Are they going to let him pick his own next quarterback?
I think that they are running Bruce's offense well, considering you've seen Mike Evans has huge games, Godwin's been having huge games, Ronald Jones is starting to come around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Winston's still making those boneheaded plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they'd stop shooting themselves in the foot, they'd probably have a better record, right?
Right. Especially with Atlanta having a down season, Carolina's kind of there, but they're not like a polarizing team outside of McCaffrey.
Yeah.
DJ Moore did look good, but
Just looking at some of their results, so like they've been in some tight games, like they've been in competitive games.
right,
I mean, I think beating the Rams looked better at the time than it does now.
Right.
But both games with the Saints, I guess one's a one-score game, one's a two-score game. No, that's three scores, I guess.
yeah,
One-score game with the Seahawks, the Titans, like they've been in competitive games. So yeah, I think they do definitely still have confidence in Aaron. So
yeah. I think they go a different direction at quarterback, though. I think you are right.
yeah, and you think, I guess, are they going to have a high enough pick to go after one in the draft, or do you think they sign one as a free agent?
Um, I mean, who's free agents? Mariota. Who else is there? Cam Newton, if they decide to get rid of him, release him.
Nick Foles, maybe, if they decide to get rid of him. There's a couple like question mark situations,
Right.
right?
Do you bring
Mitchell,
Fitzpatrick back?
Mitchell Trubisky? I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
There's a couple of, but it's also projected to be a pretty solid quarterback class again, isn't it? With
Right.
Burrows and Tua and Hurts.
And if you think about a lot of the teams that don't really need quarterbacks, that might be a position that drops a little in the draft.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they'll do both. Maybe they'll draft one and sign one, right?
Right.
I'm trying to remember who I read this from. I'm not going to take credit for it, but I don't know who to credit it to. They said if you don't have your quarterback, you need to draft one every year until you have your quarterback. Like,
Right.
you just need to keep putting capital into it because
It's the most important position.
absolutely, and the value of having a quarterback on a rookie contract is enormous. So
Especially with a guy like who we can talk about next, Sam Darnold, when he's playing the way he's playing his last two games.
that's not the direction I thought you were going.
No, where'd you think I was going to go?
I thought you were going
Lamar
straight to Lamar
Jackson?
Jackson. I was like, we were talking about Lamar.
Well, I think Sam
yeah.
Darnold is more of a surprise at this point. Like he had a
Absolutely.
lot of hype before the season. Like he was supposed to have a big step up, but then the whole mono thing kicked in, and even his first game back, he wasn't great. But his last two games, he's looked really good. And I was actually at the game this weekend against the Raiders.
Yeah.
He looked comfortable. He was making good plays. He made great throws under pressure. He just seemed like he was there. And I don't know, it's Robbie Anderson. He's completely non-existent when Darnold's not playing well. When he's playing well, when Darnold's playing well, Robbie Anderson all of a sudden comes out of the woodwork. So it's like when Darnold's there, that entire team is better.
So I heard he looked even more comfortable after the game.
Why did I say that?
Oh, you didn't hear that story? So,
No.
So it was reported that he was blackout drunk, making out with some girl at a club the night after the game.
And he probably got mono again.
But yeah, I've actually been on the Sam Darnold bandwagon for a bit, and I had high hopes for him coming into the season.
Mm-hmm.
As you alluded to, he had a slow start, but I'm encouraged by what I've seen the last couple games. He didn't take advantage of the Miami matchup the way that I thought he would,
Right.
and like he obviously he did not look good against New England, but very few people do. So.
Right.
No, I'd say he's making positive strides, and he's there's reason for optimism there for sure.
Yeah, that entire offense looks so much better when Darnold's playing well. Like Le'Veon Bell played very good yesterday or Sunday. Robbie Anderson, like I said. Crowder and Demaryius Thomas didn't really have huge games, but Ryan Griffin scored another touchdown.
Now, were you really expecting much from Demaryius Thomas? I really think he's been washed for a couple years now.
No, I didn't expect much, but being a wide receiver 3 on a team, I think you could do much worse.
Hmm. Okay.
But I think we can move on to who you thought I was going to talk about, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he's the guy that's everyone's talking about the rookie contract because not only was he not only is he on a rookie contract, but he's on an end of the first round rookie contract. So
Hmm.
they get the bonus year, but like he's making peanuts this year. Like
Right.
I mean, by NFL standards, I would certainly take his game
Oh God,
checks.
yes.
But he's being so grossly underpaid. I saw the side by side of him and Goff, their cap hits for like the duration, the remainder of their respective contracts, and it's like I think Goff's getting more per year than Jackson's getting the rest of his contract, and and the production is certainly uh, in different ends of the spectrum as
Oh
well. So
yeah. Lamar Jackson's on pace, I think it said almost 1,300 rushing yards this year.
yeah, he's he's phenomenal,
He's an animal.
and I'm not gonna claim to have been on the ahead of the curve on that one. I expected him to have some good production this year. I didn't expect this.
So honestly, watching him play last year before the season started, I was one of those guys that said, I'm going to take Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson.
Hmm,
I feel like he's a better passer. He ran the ball very well at the end of last season. I
yeah.
feel like he's got more talent. Then
Okay.
Lamar comes out, and I was just like, boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Even week 1.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy shit, this guy's really got it. That sucks.
I saw on I think it was like NFL Live or something earlier today where he couldn't even throw the NFL football last year when he was playing in those NFL games. Like
Hmm.
he was having trouble throwing a spiral.
Yeah.
He hadn't adjusted from the college ball to it's the Duke, right? They call it the Duke.
Yeah. It
He
was
hadn't he,
ugly.
Yeah, and so he's like, yeah, I was like throwing a lot of ducks last year. It took me most of the offseason just to get comfortable with the ball, and that to me is wild. That I guess I don't as somebody that never really played,
Right.
you don't know how big of an adjustment that is.
Right.
But I can see it like playing other sports when they change the ball, it certainly has a big impact on the game. So yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. But Lamar Jackson going forward, I mean, I think him and Mahomes have got to be QB 1 and 2.
Yeah. Do you worry about the durability?
I don't, because he doesn't. I mean, I saw him take a couple hits last night, but none of them. There was one that was a hard hit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's elusive enough to where he doesn't really get hit that much.
He doesn't until he does, though, right? Like that. That's
Eh,
people felt a lot of the same things about RG3, right? And it just takes that one time where you get put into a bad spot, and because of who he is,
hmm.
he's going to try to make something out of nothing, and it just takes that one time
Yeah.
for it to go off the rails. And this isn't me like saying, oh, I don't believe in him. Like absolutely, I believe
Right.
in him.
Right.
I worry that we could lose what I think everyone is enjoying right now, right? Everyone's loving this, and it's kind of a breath of fresh air in the league. And you worry that you could lose it in a split second.
What he needs to do is just go on vacation with Russell Wilson this offseason and say, hey, when do I slide? How do you not get hit? Because
Hmm.
Russell Wilson is that one quarterback that can run and
Yeah,
not get hit.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't. He's a bit of a magician as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not nearly as dynamic as a runner, but he's certainly slippery
Right.
and smart.
He's smart. He's just smart as anything.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another year 2 quarterback. Baker Mayfield finally showing up.
Baker Mayfield.
It only took the Dolphins.
Do you remember when there was a big discussion about who you'd rather have, Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield?
Oh, I do.
Which side were you on?
I was on the Mayfield side.
Same here. It's embarrassing.
It is.
How,
It
how wrong
hurts.
how wrong you can be. I drafted him in one of my redraft leagues. I don't have him anywhere in Dynasty, but so I wasn't like super high on him. But he did. I mean, he looked good last year.
Yeah, he did. He looked really good.
He broke the rookie passing touchdown record in what was it, like 12 games? He didn't even
Yeah,
play a full season.
right.
Um, and then they added
Odell
OBJ,
Beckham. Yep.
right? You know how he seemed like such a can't miss guy this year, and boy did he miss. But
Now, is it him or is it Freddie Kitchens?
um, I think it's both
Yeah.
because I don't think Freddie Kitchens is putting him in the best positions to be successful,
Right.
but you got to think there's other guys that in the same situation I think would look better than he's looked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, definitely.
he hasn't looked good. Maybe not all his fault, but you got to give him some of the credit.
Like
Um,
do a comparison, like we were just talking about. Look at Sam Darnold earlier. Look
mhm.
at the job he's doing, and he has Jameson
Gase,
Crowder, Demarius Thomas, and Robbie Anderson with Adam Gase calling plays.
yeah, the the same Adam Gase that couldn't do anything with Tannehill, and now Tannehill. We're gonna get to him after, but Tannehill looks like a superstar.
Right.
And no, I don't. I'm not a believer in the Gase offense. So
I
yeah, I
think
don't
I
think.
think Gase just needs to lay off the speedballs.
I don't think Gase is doing more for Darnold than Kitchens is doing for Mayfield. So yeah, you'd like to see a little bit more. Um, but I mean, we are seeing some promise.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are maybe a bit of a remedy for what ails you, and so
Maybe it can help jumpstart the rest of the season for him.
yeah, he'd started to turn the corner I think before this week, but this is certainly one of the better games that we've seen from him this year. So you kind of hope to keep it going.
Yeah. Speaking of Tannehill, Tannehill's looking like a superstar in Tennessee,
Not bad for a wide receiver,
right? My
huh?
God, man. I mean, he's made Marcus Mariota just a complete afterthought.
Yeah,
Probably Vrabel sitting there saying, "Why didn't I do this at the beginning of the season?"
yeah,
Like everybody said it. Mariota's not worth it.
yeah.
And I was
Uh,
actually still a slight Mariota believer.
See, I was never on the Mariota train. Between him and Jameis, I always thought Jameis had the better, ceiling.
I agree.
I thought Mariota had more potential to be a game manager, and because he's a guy, he took the Titans to the playoffs at least once, maybe twice.
Right. He did. What was it? Was it last year or the year before? And he played well against the Patriots.
Yeah, in the year that he threw the touchdown to himself against the Chiefs in the playoffs, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I want to say that was a big comeback win. That was Alex Smith's last year, I think, in Kansas City. So that was what, 2 years ago?
Yep.
Um, and so, no, I've never really been a Mariota guy, but I did not see this coming from Tannehill. Like
No.
he's rejuvenated that offense, and he's made what many people thought was just a really talented wide receiver core that was just, it looked like trash. He's
Right.
rejuvenated them. The run game is going again. Derrick Henry. We'll
Ooh.
talk about him later.
Yeah.
But that whole team looks like a whole different group of guys.
If you bought low on any of the Titans offense earlier, you
Mm,
did well.
yeah,
You did well. Uh, I want to talk about my guy Jimmy Garoppolo, who I know
Jimmy G.
Sean hates him, but he has shown 3 weeks in a row now that he can win you a game.
What do you think he did after the game? Was he out partying like Sam Darnold
No,
was?
because he went and found a porn star.
Well, so different kind of party, right? But
He's a classier kind of guy.
yeah, that's how I'd definitely phrase it that way as well. Oh, he looked good again, right?
Yeah.
I think I think everyone knows that he's got that in him. You know, but who was it that they played? You know better than I do. He didn't look good in the loss, right?
against the
He struggled.
Seahawks.
He struggled. And the Seahawks defense has not been good this year, right?
But against the Seahawks, he lost Sanders at the beginning of the game, and they didn't have Kittle.
That is true. Yeah, he was depleted.
Their
So
two best targets. So, I mean, and
yeah,
he looked shaky to start the season, but he was just coming back from his ACL, and I think it took him a little bit of time to get comfortable and trust his knee again. And I think you can see full trust in that knee again.
yeah,
And he's making nice touch passes. Debo's starting to come around.
yep.
And it's nice to see that offense actually not having to run the ball 40 times a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, for fantasy purposes, I think everyone wanted to see them open it up a little bit more, and so they're starting to for sure. So
Yeah, and to see that game against the Packers,
yeah,
it was just like, okay, that's kind of a statement there.
yeah.
So I think we'll take a break right there. When we come back, we'll talk about some running backs. All right, and welcome back. Here, me and Andrew are going to talk to you guys about some running back. I'm going to start with Benny Snell, Pittsburgh, filling in nicely for James Conner. What do you think?
I think I don't think I'm buying
Yeah.
in terms of like dynasty values. I just feel like there's too many guys and they're all interchangeable and replaceable, and there's not a whole lot to it. He's a guy that if if you're making a push for the playoffs, he certainly should be on a roster. Like if he's on waivers, I'm picking him up. But
Right.
he has produced when he's been given the opportunity, which is all you can ask for, right? So
Right.
no, I don't mind him. I feel like they want James Conner to be the guy, and so
Right.
as soon as he's healthy, then he's get the job back.
Yeah, I think Benny Snell can be a big redraft asset this year, especially honestly, for me, if the Steelers lose one more game or two more games and Connor's still banged up, I say shut him down because he's going to be
Hmm.
your running back next year. So this could be possibly for the semifinal and championship game for redraft. Benny Snell could be a huge factor for you.
Yeah, yeah, I agree
Because
with that. I mean, from an NFL perspective, see what you got in a guy, right?
right,
And
and
that's
don't destroy your stud.
hmm Well, I mean, to the same point, if you like what you got with Snell, maybe I don't know, maybe you can get something for Connor, right? You can get
Right,
something for Snell, right? Or it's just good to have running back depth, but
right.
you gotta give him an opportunity before you figure that out, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of nice Snell playing well because now you know, like if you have Snell and Connor, you don't automatically have to jump on this 2020 class for the running backs.
Mm.
I mean, if the opportunity's there, think about it, but it's not something that really is a must do for you.
Yeah, don't reach.
Yeah. Um, I also want to touch on Todd Gurley. I mean, I've been waiting for him to just
Ah.
actually blow up, and that entire Rams offense has just made me want to barf week in, week out. It's disgusting to watch. I don't. How do you go from being such a prolific offense just 1 year ago to where you're at now?
So I haven't really researched this at all, but my perception is that their offensive line is a bit of a train wreck,
Mm-hmm.
and Goff has never, from my understanding again, looked good under pressure,
Right.
and so he's just constantly under pressure, and he's not. So he can make the throws if you give him the time, but if you take the time away, he implodes, and that's basically what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as the run game, they've looked good in short bursts,
Right.
but like again, my understanding of the run game concepts, and they alluded to in the broadcast last night, was they thrive on the like outside zone runs, right, where
Right.
they get Gurley out into space, and I don't see them doing that this year,
No.
right? They're running him up the gut a
Right.
lot, and maybe it's because he has lost a step and he can't turn the corner, but that I don't know.
They
It's
wouldn't even get
not.
him involved in the screen game either.
They tried to last night, but he gets swallowed up. And so
Yeah.
that's the other thing is, before last night, I did not have the impression that the Ravens were like a top tier defense. I mean, traditionally the Ravens are a strong defense. It's one of their strong points. But like they seemed like they were making the Rams play calls for them. Like they knew
Right.
exactly what was
Well,
coming. They were swallowing them up.
it's because you look at that defense and there's not like a star player that jumps out at you. There's not
Hmm.
like that one player where you're like, oh, it's his defense. It's just a team defense.
Yeah.
Like it's a defense that's full of good players and they all just play well together. Like
Yeah.
you can see a defense that actually communicates, knows each other, knows what each teammate is doing, as opposed to somebody just like a stacked defense. Like you can have a stacked defense, and if you can't play with somebody, you guys don't have good continuity, you're still going to be a bad defense.
Yeah.
But this team just seems to be like on the same page throughout.
Yeah.
So
That's six rushing attempts for Gurley yesterday.
That's-
Nine total.
that's
Like-
just disgusting.
They only ran, as far as I can tell, they only ran 46 offensive plays.
And they got torched. Absolutely torched.
The Ravens ran the ball 48 times. The Rams only ran 46 plays.
Wow. And, if we're talking about that, why don't we talk about Mark Ingram then?
Yeah?
He doesn't have huge volume,
No.
but his yards per carry numbers are up there, his touchdowns are up there, and he's making a difference in the receiving game.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, he's honestly he's splitting carries almost with Gus Edwards,
Gus Bus.
but he's making twice to three times the amount of yardage with it.
Yep.
And he looks healthy, he looks energized, and he looks hungry.
Well, this is, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think everybody knew he's talented from his time in New Orleans, right? Like
Mhm.
he produced there, and they knew that he was a multi-purpose back. He could contribute in the pass game, but
Right.
it goes back to what I talked to you about earlier before the show about the effect of a dual threat quarterback on the
Yeah.
run game, and
Yep.
and so that's like his efficiency numbers are, it's just an outlier season in terms of their offensive efficiency, that we just haven't seen outside of other offenses that have a dual threat quarterback. So
Mhm.
I think it's somewhat expected, but it's still it's incredible to see, like 15 for 111
Right.
is I think
It's outlandish.
yeah, Todd Gurley would need about 30 carries to get to
Oh my gosh.
111. They don't run the ball that many times in two games. So
No, and just Ingram just looks. I don't know. That whole offense just looks so in sync. It's the entire team is just. I don't know. The Ravens they scare me.
yep,
Of any team in the AFC, it's the Ravens. It's not even the Patriots for me. It's the Ravens. I mean, the Patriots once they get to the playoffs, they're still the Patriots, but
yep,
the Ravens are the scariest team in the AFC.
agreed.
Sticking in the AFC, let's talk Derrick Henry. He's starting his late season bonanza again, as he did last year.
Get in before the train starts
Oh
rolling.
my God! What did he have? 160 yards and 2 TDs this week.
And it was against the Jags again.
Right.
Same as last year, right?
Yep.
He just a couple different channels are showing highlights side by side this year versus last year, and he's just trucking guys in the secondary.
Yeah.
Like I
And
mean,
he
they're
went
probably
out for
making
what, a
business decisions.
74 yarder.
Yep.
It's like, come on, man.
And he's a big boy to be going 74 yards.
Right.
They had to get the auction tank out after that one, I bet. But,
Oh man. Yeah, he was probably huffing.
Well, the thing is, I think he could be more involved in the pass game. I really do.
I agree.
I don't think he's Alvin Kamara by any means, but I think he's the kind of guy where if you can get him into the secondary, if you can get him past the D line, he's gonna get some yak because he's
A tank.
yeah,
He's a
it's a
better
big fella.
version of Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah. Oh, way better.
Yeah. But I mean, they don't really throw to their running backs anymore, like this season anyway. I mean, but Deion Lewis had what, 2 targets last night or Sunday night?
Yep.
So it's just not, I feel like, in their game plan. But I mean, even in like the rushing attack, Tannehill was getting out there and rushing. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, 7 carries.
Yeah, you hate to see it if you're a Henry if you get Henry in your roster,
I know. Just
robbing my
imagine
rushing touchdowns.
those two go to Henry, 160 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, wouldn't be the
But
first time.
again, that Titans offense,
Coming
uh,
around.
they really are, and that team could be a scary team from what is it, the AFC? Is that considered the South?
Yep,
AFC South.
they're
They
AFC
could
South.
they could win that division really. It's probably Houston's to win.
Yeah, I think well, it was basically whoever won the Thursday nighter last week, Houston
Yeah,
and Colts,
Houston
right?
and
And
D.
Houston won,
Yep.
so I think Houston's the favorite now. Um, so I don't know. I
I
still
mean, Tennessee's only 1 game back.
are they really?
Yeah, they're 6-5. Houston's 7-4.
Okay. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
That is surprising. Wow.
So I mean, you never know.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, there's enough games left. They could pick that up. Do they play each other yet? Sorry, not again. Not yet. Again. I have to look at their schedule here
I don't know.
because
I'm sure
yeah,
they
they do.
do.
They do. They do. It looks like in 3 weeks, week 15.
That could be a big game.
Yeah,
Be a very big
they
game.
play each other twice. They play each other in week 15 and
Still?
17. Yeah.
Oh man, that's huge playoff implications right there.
Yep. So December 15th and 29th.
Yeah.
That is actually really significant. And they got another divisional game this week against the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, yeah, that division could really move around a bit before the end of the season. So
Right, and I don't even think Jacksonville's really. Oh no, they were down to 4-7. I thought they were 5-win team, but
yeah, I kind of had the impression that Minshew had won a couple more than that while he was in as well, but he had some good games, some close games, just
Right.
not enough wins.
yeah. Well, let's move on to the NFC. What about? Oh, actually, you know what? Before we go to the NFC, let's stay in the AFC South. Jonathan Williams,
Yeah,
Indy. He's had 2 consecutive 100-yard games, and Mac's probably gonna miss Week 13 as well with his broken hand.
yeah, I don't. I mean, do you think he'll be back this season?
As a Williams owner, I hope not.
Yeah,
But I mean, they said only a couple of games. I think in the same sense as James Conner, if they stay competitive, like if they win this week and they're still in that race to win the division, then I think he comes back.
yeah. I just feel like as a running back,
A broken hand's a big thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like if you're like on the D line, you could probably get away with it, but
I don't think you can club as a running back.
no, handling the football, you want to have good control of the ball, and like the way that teams are defending now, like people are trying to punch the ball out.
Right.
You take a punch to
To a broken hand.
yeah, like that's not that's not what you want to see. But no, I mean I did not unfortunately get in on the ground floor of the Jonathan Williams opportunity.
I got
So-
one chair.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't have any stake in it. So, I mean, I hope so. I think a lot of people were really high on him coming into the league. He was drafted by Buffalo, wasn't he? And he looked really good
Yeah.
in his rookie season, and then he did something stupid and got cut,
Yep.
and they bounced around somewhere else, and
Right.
he looked good, and he got cut, and so you like to see him get another opportunity and make the most of it. He's clearly a talented running back. So
Right. I mean, he's not like electric by any means, but he moves the chains
yeah,
every time. He knows how to run. He can hit the hole, he'll get you 4 yards.
I'm actually more heavily invested in Jordan Wilkins than anybody else in that backfield, and so I was kind of bummed to see he didn't get the shot. But I think he's coming back from
He
an injury of his own.
he just came back last week, but
Didn't get a
Williams
carry.
just kind of no, not one. I don't even think he saw a snap.
I think he saw some special team snaps.
Ah,
Yep.
for fantasy, that's just a stab in the heart.
Mm-hmm. Healthy enough to play, but not good enough to get opportunity.
Yep. I do want to touch on the fact that my man Frank Gore surpassed Barry Sanders as the third all-time leading rusher in the NFL. Frank Gore, possibly my favorite player of all time. Big 49ers fan. Go get him, Gore.
You think he's better than Barry Sanders?
No.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. Not many
But,
were, if any. Barry
no.
Sanders was just electric.
Yeah, but
But Frank Gore has just been solid for years. He
Yeah.
can still play.
I mean, you can't argue with his durability. He's been an Iron Man, and
Yeah.
in one of the most grueling positions in football, right? So I remember like so he was what year would he have been drafted?
Ooh, now you're testing me here.
He's what, like 36 now, so he would have been drafted
Yeah.
like 14 years ago, so 2005-ish. So he was right in his prime, right around the time when I started playing fantasy back in like I want to say 08, 09.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember he had a bit of a injury prone reputation.
Right.
Because I think he'd had a couple of seasons where he had missed some time with injuries.
Yeah.
But like, I think he's put that behind him with with his durability over the course of his career.
Yeah.
Like,
He was
my
drafted
goodness.
in 05, so he's been in the league for 14 years.
Yeah, that's a statement.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for him, it's his teammate Devin Singletary who stole the show. He has looked great this season when he's given the opportunity. He went for another 100 yards this week, and it's his team moving forward in the running back position, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, he's been a pleasant surprise down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were planting the seed to stash him early in the season, and definitely paid off. You were able to get into that.
Yep. So, Gore, go get him, man, and thank you for taking care of my guy Singletary. It's good guidance. Let's go over to the NFC though. Let's talk a little Detroit Lions. Bo Scarborough.
Yeah.
He had a second good game. He kind of came out of nowhere, and Ty Johnson was the big ad on that team, and he just underwhelmed immensely, and then got a concussion. And Scarborough, even when Johnson was available, got the spot start and just kind of ran with it, literally.
Yep. Yeah, again, he's not a guy that I picked up anywhere. I did not see this coming, but definitely worth a stash. He was a good college running back, right? Like he
was an Alabama guy.
Yeah, he had a solid college career, but just didn't profile as necessarily being an elite NFL runner, and so he went like late. Was he 6th or 7th round pick?
I don't know. I think it was 6th, but it could have been 7th.
Anyway, like late, and so no draft capital. It's tough to get a job in the NFL as a running back, right?
Right.
Like they're pretty coveted. So this could be the opportunity that really, vaults him back into the conversation of being a legit NFL running back, and
Right.
and we'll be talking about him next year if so. I really hope that it's not with the Lions, because I'm a big Kerryon Johnson fan and believer. But again, it's like the Benny Snell situation we talked about. Like he might earn himself a job somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, Kerryon Johnson is definitely the more talented back. He just needs to stay healthy.
Yeah.
One more running back I want to touch on, Rashad Penny. He got another opportunity this week when Chris Carson fumbled again, and Penny ended up he took a 74-yarder to the house or 78-yarder to the house, and he had 14 carries for 128 yards, I think it was.
Yeah, it was a long house call for sure.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked and they want to get him involved. And they've written off Chris Carson for a while now for some reason. The only reason he stays in is because he just constantly produces. But that team's been wanting to go to Rashad Penny for a while now, I feel like. And now that he has this huge game, I think it's now the time of year where he's going to be involved at least in a 50-50 split.
See, I never got the read that they wanted to get rid of Chris Carson. I thought they loved him. I thought they trusted him, and I think that the Seahawks front office really pride themselves on their undrafted gems, or certainly like late drafted gems, and so I still feel like they want him to be that guy, but I think they finally had to admit that the fumbles are a problem and they're not getting any better,
Right.
and so. I don't know if it's a Bill Belichick doghouse. You need to be punished so that you try to change your behavior type of situation, or if it's the type of situation where it's like, you know what, we get another guy that we believe in, and he can do the job as well as you can without fumbling. So we're gonna give it to Penny. I will bring up again though the what I talked to you about before the show, the pass protection gaff
Oh
on
gosh.
Penny, and you got to look it up. It's comedic. I think it's how I would block if I was in pass pro in the NFL. Because I don't think he made contact with the guy. He just, I think the defender actually might have thought he was running a screen because the defender was like not sure if he wanted to go around him. He's like, well, if I just go around you, like you're gonna catch a screen pass, but the screen was not a consideration. You just got a complete free run at Russell Wilson's blindside and get a sack out of it. So it was comedic though.
Oh man. Yeah, so check that GIF out whenever you can because I'm sure it's hilarious. Because I mean, who wouldn't want to see Russell Wilson get blindsided? Sorry, Russ. Right there, though, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk wide receivers and tight ends. And welcome back. We are going to talk to you. We'll start with some wide receivers. I'm going to talk again about the game that I went to this weekend. I saw Robbie Anderson. He looked to be more involved in the offense again. He led the team in receiving yards, scored a touchdown. And he was a guy I was big on earlier this year just because Sam Arnold's second year in the offense, and he looked good last year enough, and he looked like he loved to throw to Robbie Anderson. So seeing a healthy Darnold might see a nice spike in Robbie Anderson to finish this season and moving forward. What do you think?
Did you get a chance to meet him and tell him how big of a fan you were?
I didn't, and I kind of wish I did just because. If I could have met him, got an autograph, and showed Sean,
Yeah.
that would have been good.
Oh, jealousy. Yeah, I don't mind Anderson. I think he's talented, and if Darnold continues to progress the way that I hope that he does, then I think there's going to be opportunity there. I believe there was some off the field concerns with him coming into the league, so
Yeah.
he's maybe got a little bit of a short leash there. But no, I like him. He's not going to cost you much, so I think the payoff could be worthwhile.
Definitely. Another guy you might be able to get cheap still is Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller just put his second consecutive solid game together. Nothing crazy, but he's starting to come alive. He's starting to get some looks in the passing game, and he eclipsed, I think, 70 yards for the second straight week. I can't really remember last week. I know it was another solid game. He had 77 this week, so it's just somebody keep an eye on. Maybe a nice buy low with everybody hating on Trubisky, because you never know if they lose faith in Trubisky and they go ahead and they draft a quarterback, then you have Anthony Miller, who's obviously a talented receiver, with a good quarterback finally.
See, I was a big fan of Miller coming into the league, and I think that he wasn't necessarily used enough last year. But from what I've seen this year, like in addition to Trubisky completely tanking his value, from what I've been seeing and reading about it, he hasn't been helping himself. He's been very imprecise in his route running, and that was one of his calling cards, right?
Right.
Sorry, did I say that? Did I say that the Canadian way or the American way? Route running, route running.
That was the Canadian way. We say route running.
Yeah, route running. And so But so like just one example that I read on one of Trubisky's interceptions, like he ran he ran an 18-yard out, I think, when it was supposed to be a 16-yard out. So
Yeah.
he was 2 yards
Deep.
late essentially on coming out of his break, and so he was late. The ball got to him before he was ready, and he got a hand on it, tipped it to the defender, interception. And
Hmm.
so just like little things like that that maybe I wouldn't have picked up on just watching the game, but then you look through some of the film analysis that's on available on Twitter, and he's not helping himself. He's making these, and it's been an ongoing thing from everything that I've read online. So you don't like to see those sort of things. Um, but yeah, I agree. It is promising the last couple games. I think he's got six catches the last 2 games each, and starting to get a few more yards. So definitely, he's a guy that I have a couple places, and I like his tape coming out of college. I liked his production, but you wanna see him clean it up a little bit because you can only blame the quarterback if you're doing your job right. If you're screwing
Yeah.
up a job, then you have to take the blame for that.
I want to move on to let's talk Terry McLaurin again, your guy.
I
He
love Terry.
he's starting with Dwayne Haskins again, but he got 12 targets this week, which
Mm.
before this week the targets weren't really there for Terry. They dropped off quite a bit, but he saw 12 this week, which is very encouraging. What do you think?
I mean, I think that Haskins had to figure it out eventually because you got to throw the ball to your best player, and
Right.
Terry is their best player. So certainly promising for his value going forward. I I don't necessarily have that much optimism for him the rest of this season, but if he can develop some rapport with Haskins going into next season, I think he'll be a candidate for. I mean, it's difficult to even say a breakout because I think he's already broken out, but you know, this is sort of sustained production that you're hoping for.
Yep, definitely. Um, we're gonna start speedballing a couple of them here. Jarvis Landry, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been the best receiver for the Browns this year.
Yeah, no question, I agree.
Yeah. Chris Godwin over
Stud.
Mike Evans, or
For me at this point in Dynasty, absolutely, I want Godwin over Evans. I don't necessarily think that he's uh, a better player. He's a different player, and so I think
yep,
that Godwin can be successful in more styles of offenses, whereas Mike Evans, I think he excels in one aspect that's very difficult to defend. So I don't know. I think Godwin's just a better, more complete receiver, and Evans is just more of a physically dominant freak.
gotcha. DJ Moore, he
I
came
think,
alive again, and he's a great receiver. I feel.
yeah, I think he's in the Godwin conversation, right? Like he's got enough size. He's not a big receiver, but he's got enough size. But he's just got the athleticism and the route running and the savvy, and yeah, I really like him as well.
Yep. Will Fuller.
Nice to see him come back. I think everyone knew that this was possible. He had that huge breakout earlier in the season where he had what was it, 4 touchdowns, and just like chunks of yards. And he's such a good compliment to Hopkins. Hopkins in his post game interview, I think last Thursday, he talked about how they complement each other so well and they open the field up for each other. And so
Right.
I think it's really good for both of those guys to have him back on the field. And so I don't like his injury history. Like he's got these soft tissue
Oh,
injuries, and
the hamstrings are terrible for him.
yeah, but like I mean, like, I think that comes with the territory with a speed freak like him, right? So you want to see him take care of his body a little bit better and stay healthy, but what can you do?
I hear you. Let's move on to tight ends real quick. Eric Ebron done for the season.
Yeah,
What was it ankle injuries they're trying to get under control?
yeah.
So I mean, he hasn't really been. Obviously, he wasn't the Eric Ebron of last season. He's kind of the Eric Ebron of the previous.
Detroit era.
Yeah. But this opens up for Jack Doyle for the rest of the season. Jack Doyle's played with. He played with Brissett last time Brissett was here, and he actually was
Yep.
very productive. So.
Yeah, he's one of Brissett's favorite targets when they play together.
Yep.
I don't love Jack Doyle. I like Jack Doyle. I don't think he's in the Kittle class of tight ends by any means. I really
Oh no.
my best comparison I think would probably be Will Dissly, and I like Will Dissly actually quite a bit. So I
Yeah.
think that's complimentary to him. Except that I like Will Dissly's quarterback play a lot better than I like
Oh
Jack
gosh,
Doyle's.
yes.
So I think he can be serviceable. And after a week like this week where the tight end landscape was just atrocious,
It was.
you need a guy that can at least not give you a zero, right? Give you some production. So I think Jack
Right.
Doyle's he's going to be one of those reliable mid to late end tight end ones down the stretch. So
Yeah.
you can start him.
Yeah, this week it was Zach Ertz, George Kittle, and Jared Cook.
Mm-hmm.
That was it for tight ends.
Yeah. Desperate
So,
times.
Desperate times call for George Kittle. But that's going to wrap it up tonight for us on the F3 Pod. Be sure you follow us at F3 Pod on Twitter. Check out at idpguys.org for anything IDP related. We have start sit charts. We have we have a trade calculator. We have rankings. We have ADP. Anything you need, as well as www.Dynasty Football Digest. Same deal. That's just all Dynasty related. So have all the same deal there, all the same tools you have with IDP guys there. Make sure you check out, let's see, it is at myffl shirt on Twitter. It's myfantasyfootballshirt.com. It's a website created by our Lord and Savior at Nate Cheat.
Fearless leader.
He will make you any fantasy football shirt you'd like. He's got some nice ones on there. He created one for our league we're in together, and they come out pretty darn cool. Also, be sure to follow Writer Digest. That's REITER Digest on YouTube. And tune in every week. I'm Joey the Tooth IDP. Andrew, Dubs fans 02.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Signing off.
Cheers.